The following is a Just Green production brought to you by the Might Be News Network.
All right, everybody, welcome to Might Be Brews, the podcast where we explore the people, places, and brews of the craft brew world. I'm Steve. Happy late Valentine's Day to everybody. This will be coming out on Friday, so I hope you had a good night last night. Happy Valentine's to my wife and kids. Love you guys. We got a couple guests in the house, as always. Producer Taylor, what's going on, man?
What up?
We got from on loan. We got him on loan from Might Be Sports. We got CJ. What's going on, man?
How's it going?
Good to see you. And we got an old dear friend. We got from the Colony Meadery, and we'll get into that in a little bit. We'll drop that as a little hint. We got Dave. How you doing?
Doing well, sir. Good to be here. Good to be here.
So Dave and I go way back.
Way back.
And I was trying to think of the actual origin story, if you will. I don't know if there really is one. It's kind of like, so we met in high school.
Ninth grade.
Ninth grade.
Yeah.
It's high school.
The Voltron of the junior highs.
Yes. Yes, the three Coatesville middle schools combining into old Scott 910 Center.
Yeah.
But after that, I don't remember us not hanging out.
No, I mean, you give credit to Tony. That was probably the link, because I knew him from way back, and his mom, where she worked at the doctor's office. That's where we went for a pediatrician, and yeah, that was probably the common link. And then, there's just, then it was you, me, Tony, Chris, Kevin, Fish, etc.
All the way through high school.
All the way through high school, yeah.
So Dave works for a place called the Colony Meadery. So a little bit later in this episode, we're going to be drinking some mead. Taylor, do you have any clue what a mead is?
I just know that the Bud Light King guy throws people in the dungeon for bringing it to him.
He did. He did not like his mead.
And we thank him for that. That has been incredible and priceless promotion on the Bud Light part, you know. Yeah.
I bet. Do people like come to you strictly from that commercial? They're just like, I've never heard of this stuff before. I want to try it.
Yeah, I mean, the best example is when we were doing a festival in Bethlehem called Chris Kindle Mart, which is like an 8-week weekend long, old style, like German village Christmas. And we hung a sign up that said, yes, we have autumnal meads, because like every guy that would, or usually a bit older that looked like us would walk by and go, you have autumnal meads? And we go, yeah. And they go, oh, because they just thought it was some word made up. And we're like, no, please come in here, give me money, and I will give you some. And they're like, oh yeah. I mean, that was very beneficial to us during the holidays. I'll just leave it at that.
How about you, CJ? Have you ever heard of mead? Have you ever had a mead?
I've heard of mead. I do not believe I've ever had any.
Cool. Well, we're going to try some a little bit later. We're going to start off on the more beer side, and we're going to get right into drink it or sink it. We didn't do one with the Levante guys.
No, we didn't.
I kind of wanted them to bring one, but I didn't want to impose upon them, considering they gave us all kinds of stuff.
And I liked all their beers too, so that was fine.
That was a good time.
They were all drink it's for me.
So I'm hoping this one will be another drink it. This one is called Marie. It's a unfiltered German style Helles Lager from Hill's Farmstead. And I just picked this up tonight from our buddy Dave. You heard Dave on the podcast a couple weeks ago. And he said, yo, Taylor's talking about lagers. I got a lager for him. So this is from our buddy Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
For Dave to sample. For Taylor and anybody else that might not know, Hill's Farmstead is a brewery up in Vermont. Dave might know better than me. Are they regularly listed as the best brewery in the world?
Pretty damn close.
If not, it's every other year, depending on who's doing the list.
Yeah,
Who are these guys?
Yes.
They don't make bad beer.
I can't say that I've ever had a beer from them that I haven't really enjoyed. And not just average enjoyment, like really enjoyed.
Wow, smells good.
there's a lot of breweries that are just gifted.
Yeah.
And this is one of them. I mean, it's a short list and we can all argue it like superheroes, but these guys are one of them.
So it's definitely and man, that's really good. I could drink
It's a little cloudy.
Refreshing.
It is refreshing.
It's got that. I don't want to. It's definitely hoppier than
A
you
normal.
might be used to from a lager, but it's definitely appropriate.
It's
And
very good.
I don't know my hops well enough to place my finger on what hop that is I'm getting in the end. It's very similar to the Prima Pils hop, I feel like.
Not as sharp. Not as sharp.
Doesn't have quite the bite to it, but it lingers longer, I feel like.
This is
And that's-
delicious. It's a drink it all day.
All right.
It's an all day drink it.
When's the last time we had a sink it?
Week 1 or 2, maybe.
Probably-
Early.
Probably something that John brought.
Probably.
And I am a little remiss. I should have mentioned that John's not here with us tonight. He was traveling for work. We miss you, John. We'll get back at you next time. Hope we do you proud.
Yeah. John was traveling a lot, and he'll be back next time, I think. I know he's got a lot of traveling coming up. Me and him, we're going to Vegas. I know that.
You guys are ready to go.
We're going to Vegas.
Vegas.
March 1st, we're going for one night. That's as long as I don't get lost or like arrested.
You have
or-
your phone charger.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I will have my phone charger. It's just a matter of whether or not my phone makes it
That's
where I'm going or whatever. I've never been to Vegas before, but I've had some pretty outrageous adventures in Atlantic City, and I would assume that that's going to be magnified by quite a bit.
the difference between Atlantic City and Vegas is so much greater than you think it is.
Oh, dude, I have
No, it's greater.
full expectations that this is going to be the craziest thing ever, and I know that I'm not going to be disappointed by that. And I pray for John. I pray for John in this situation.
He's got to buckle up.
Oh, dude, he's going to be in for a wild ride.
So speaking of John, the next time I'm going to see John is going to be next Saturday. We're going to be heading out to the Kennett Brew Fest, which
Okay.
looks like it's going to be a really cool time. If you're out there and looking for a good beer fest to go to, check out the Kennett Winter Fest, I should say. The beer fest, they do one in the fall and one in the winter. This is the Winter Fest. Still tickets available online. Check them out and come out. If you want to look for me, I'll be the guy that looks like he's between 30 and 50, white with facial hair, slightly overweight. So keep an eye out for that specific person at the beer fest and see if you can find me specifically.
I'm curious if that's going to be like 75% of the people there or 90% of the people there.
I'm gonna say 90.
Yeah, you
I'm going 95.
Just start yelling Steve from about 40 yards out.
and then
just-
half the people will turn around.
Yeah.
But if you do find me, come say what's up, and we'll drink a free beer together. So we are definitely giving this a drink it.
That's a drink it.
You guys, I'm
Definitely.
Yes.
CJ. What's your thoughts on the lager here?
Oh, it's definitely a drink. It's a summertime,
Yeah,
light,
yeah.
all day drinking event.
I could drink that all day for sure. That's really good.
When did they start canning? They've only started canning fairly recently, right? I don't even know if it's been a year that they've been putting their stuff in cans. They've always been a big format bottle. They would only do like 22-ounce bottles. And I think the can thing they just really got into less than a year ago. What you looking for there? The EBV?
Yeah.
Not on there?
Mm.
We'll have to check it out on the taps a little bit later.
Yeah.
So Dave is from our area, Coatesville, Westchester, Coatesville in the house.
Yep.
From this area. After high school, moved down to the Carolina region. So
Yeah.
what it was
After.
a couple of years after high school, right?
Yeah,
4 or
kinda-
5 years.
Kind of hung out around here for a little while, and
I definitely did my hanging out around here too, but
Yeah.
but then you got your crap together and
played hacky sack at DC Cube for a little bit, and then was like, yeah, we got to go adult.
so you moved. Where exactly what town were you in?
I was in the great town of Newberry, South Carolina.
That's right, Newberry.
Yeah, Newberry, about halfway between Columbia and Greenville. Yeah, the whole town is about as big as Thorndale.
And I definitely think there's still just the slightest southern twang to you. Just a slight.
It was kind of the opposite. Like once when I was down there, I get a couple beers in me, then the Philly came out. We sauce and but now
Get that John.
yeah, John, oh, dude.
Down south, they look at you like an alien when you say that.
Well,
They
and
do.
then it's just trying to figure out what they're saying too.
Right.
Like I'm fixing to go to dinner.
Cut the light on.
Yeah, cut. Yeah, like fixing. I ain't fixing. I'm going. What are you doing?
Fixin' drives me absolutely insane.
And there's all sorts of just wonderful little nuances. And now I get a couple beers, and then it'll go
You go the
southern
other way.
style. Yeah, go the other way. I mean, I do miss the South a good bit about it. I mean, I was in South Carolina for a while, and then North Carolina, Charlotte area, and then Raleigh. And I miss the barbecue. That is,
I didn't
yeah.
even think about that.
Yeah, I mean, down there is like, yeah, we'll go for the low hanging fruit. People doing cheesesteaks where it says Philly style cheesesteak, and you're like, yeah, nah.
No.
Um,
If it's got Philly in the name, don't eat it.
yeah, right. Although I did find one little place. It was in Cary, North Carolina. I don't know if it's still there. It was called Fat Phillies, and I walked in, and they had a big Amoroso sign, and they had tasty cakes on the counter, and I was like, "Oh, how you doing?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right, whiz wit." He handed it to me. I was like, "Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can be here."
There's a place like that in Florida too called Steagles. It's right outside of Cocoa Beach, and or Eau Gallie rather, and it was all like Pittsburgh and Philadelphia,
What's that,
like
cheesesteaks
sports and
on
stuff.
one side,
Oh, dude, it
Primanti
was
Brothers on the
crazy.
other.
Oh, it was awesome, dude. It was awesome. And my dad lives in Charlotte, so shout out to my dad in Charlotte. It's awesome down there. And you're damn right about the barbecue, dude. They don't do it like that here. It's like I don't know if they don't know how or if it's just not a part of like they just don't have those genes up here.
Well, the biggest difference is the difference in up here, barbecue is a verb. Down there, it's a noun.
Right.
Because if like I'm talking to Steve now, he's like, "Hey, you want to go barbecue?" Yeah. Next question: what do you want barbecue? Chicken, hot dog, steak. Down there, you want barbecue?
It's everything. It's that.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that area, correct me if I'm wrong, it's whole hog chopped, right?
Most of the time, yes. But there's been infiltration. So you got the tomato base, you got the vinegar base, you got the whole hog, you got the Texas style brisket, whatever you want, someone does it that style within an hour and well.
That's I could get down with some barbecue,
Oh my God.
and to have it really well done is a rare treat.
Yeah, the best places were the ones that opened on Saturday, and then they were closed by Sunday 3 p.m. because they ran out. Because
Yeah.
everybody got a full-time job. They just come there on a weekend.
Once it's gone, that's it.
Gone.
So in high school, we drank the normal lager. Yingling Lager was the big one. JW Dundee Honey Brown we had a couple of times. Remember the Honey Brown?
Little Red Dog.
Red Dog. And I think Red Dog is technically craft, wasn't it? I think somebody... No? I'm just...
I don't know.
no.
I don't know.
It's
I
one of
remember
those
having Red
Coors
Dog.
beers.
Yeah.
There was definitely a Zima Night.
It was the Kevs.
I thought it was at Ian Flynn's.
Oh, that night too.
Yeah,
with the
there was that
toothpaste
one.
and the washcloth.
Yeah, that was that one. We won't get. I wasn't gonna go too deep into these stories. I'm just talking about how we drank in high school.
Yeah, Zima. Yeah, Zima night. I remember Niagara, flagship Niagara.
I don't remember that.
That was one night at the place with the comics on the carpet. It was
You're
Chris,
losing me.
Chrissy's.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Some
one.
like senior.
Maybe I don't remember that one for a reason.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
Golden Anniversary one time,
yeah.
and if actual piss could then piss into a can, it would be Golden Anniversary. I
Yeah.
still list that as the worst beer I've ever had.
I would have to agree with that. At least, I mean, at that time that our palates were so mature and able to decipher.
So when you were down in the Carolinas, we didn't really talk a whole lot.
Yeah.
So that was probably about the time I started getting into craft beer, which was probably about the same time that you started getting into craft beer. what were some of the craft beer gateways that got you into, I'll call it the craft beer game?
Well, I remember it's down there. First of all, down there, they didn't, I was looking for Yingling. And they're like, the what? The Chinese beer. And I was like, Yingling? No, stop. It's from PA.
Got an eagle on it. Come on. Let's get a
It's
picture
got
of
an
the
eagle.
eagle.
Oldest brewery in America. Come on, America. And I remember trying to explain this to them that this, section of Pennsylvania drank something other than Bud Light, Budweiser, Miller Lite. So at that point, I felt, I had a rung up on the rest of the state already, just because we had something that was, I hesitate to use the word craft, but it was not nationwide distro.
Yeah, it wasn't
So
macro. It wasn't
Right.
Bud Light. It wasn't Miller Lite. It wasn't
Right.
Coors.
So, but then getting into South Carolina, everything was so different. They were light years ahead of us in one specific way, which was being able to purchase beer. You could buy beer at the grocery store, at the gas station, at the mini mart, at the movie theater, at wherever there was people buying things, you could buy beer. And that was a far cry, of course, in the late or the 2000s of how we were able to buy beer in PA. We've come millennia in the last 20 years.
Yeah, and even though we've come so far, we're still probably the bottom 5 of worst alcohol laws in the country, I'd
Us
say.
in Jersey.
Well, what is it? I think Utah, and there's like 2 other states that have an ABV limit.
Yeah,
on their
Utah's
beers.
one of them.
Utah's
yeah.
one of them. I can't remember the other one.
I
I'll
mean,
put them worse than we are, but only by a little bit. So you can't buy anything over 6%, 7%.
something like that.
So like any of those 12% stouts and stuff we've had, that Bogart Blondie, not having it.
Illegal.
Wow. Might as well be heroin.
Wow.
oh,
I don't
Scheduled
know.
one. It's scheduled one beer.
Right?
we're going that way. But back to your question with the scene down there. So there was not much of a scene. I remember there was one brewery in Columbia called I don't even know if they called themselves a brewery, but they made their own beer. It's called Hunter Gatherer. And then you had this little tiny one up near Greenville called RJ Rockers. And they do that Son of a Peach.
Yeah.
Everybody's had that. The King of the Peach. Not so much. But there wasn't much. And again, it was college. So it was suitcases. And I was a couple years older than the average college kid. So, of course, I took the more mature route, and I pretty much drank Captain. Period.
No Coke, no nothing.
I mean-
just Captain.
I mean, you have bad nights. I had found what do they call it? The thing that runners use to put
The Camelback.
the Camelback.
There you go.
Yeah, the Camelback that you're supposed to put water in to help you run further. Yeah. So a liter of Captain and a Coke and a half will fit in one of those.
Perfect.
And a little straw comes up over your shoulder, so
You got it.
you don't even have to have a cup. Yeah, that led to anyway. So not much craft beer there in college. And then once I got out and moved up to Charlotte area, then oh, okay, who's this? Oh, what's this beer? Oh, what's North Carolina? Okay, what's a Foothills? And you start exploring. It's like, oh, okay, Asheville. What's in Asheville? Oh, how many breweries? What?
Yeah, Asheville's got a really big brewery scene.
Yeah, Raleigh had the same thing. Big Boss, one of the pioneers there, and so many good breweries around the Raleigh area. And they had the other the one specific chain called Carolina Ale House. So it was really based in North Carolina beers, and of course they had a bunch of others too. But there was a lighthouse where it's like I don't want to drink Bud Light. I want to I want something that somebody spent some time on. And so you could go there, and man, there was a whole lot of beer there. So it's kind of kept going.
So then when you moved back up here, you started this, what we called Homer's Trade Up.
Yeah.
So why don't you just explain, I guess you got to tell them who Homer is,
Right.
and tell us to get into about how we would do the trade up.
Well, Homer is the patriarch. of the family. Came upon that nickname sometime in high school, in 10th or 11th grade.
I think it was sometime after I set off fireworks in his back seat.
Yeah, we put a hole in the Sundance. Yeah, because the window.
Sorry,
it's
sorry,
Harry
Homer.
Miss.
So we were trying to drive past some people and throw fireworks out the window.
Oh.
So I thought I rolled the window down.
Yeah.
But
Harry
remember
Miss
those
Alley.
little half windows?
Yeah.
So I go to throw these things out and they just bounce right off the window
Oh,
and like
no.
land in my lap. I like hop up and they like blew up a little bit of the seat in the back there. My bad. What did we tell him? That was a cigar?
Cigarette.
Yeah, we told him it was cigarettes.
Because that was easier to explain than.
Then I tried to throw firecrackers out your half open window.
Wow.
So Homer's trade up was, I'd say probably 75% social, 25% beer to start, because the idea was cool. And like we were talking about with how to buy beer in Pennsylvania, you had to buy cases. It's still at that time. So what we would do is just when people would come up, or I'd, did we just move back up? No, yeah, we had just moved back up, or I think the first year we were still down there. Anyway, so gathered as many people as we could figure out, and still trying to keep it a gathering. Bring a case of beer, and you do a trade up. And it was mostly kids from high school and a couple other outliers, and it was really just an excuse to be like, I really need to see just some familiar faces and hang out and drink beer and what are y'all up to? But there was some cool beers. I mean, people would bring, Thelonious, Lagunitas, of course, and a bunch
I think I brought
others.
brown sugar to that
Brown
first
sugar,
one. Might have been
yeah.
the first one. So what we would do is you'd bring a case, I bring a case. I think we probably had 8 people at the first one. Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So you'd take a couple out of your case and you'd get some of everybody's case. So you'd be able to go home with 8 different beers instead of the one different beer that you brought.
Yeah.
So speaking of beers, as we continue our conversation here, I got some of the new release from La Cabra down in Berwyn. Is that Berwyn?
Mhm.
This is called Clement, and I haven't tasted it yet, but I smelled it, and it smells fantastic as I cracked it. Double IPA brewed with Galaxy, Citra, Chinook, powder, and lactose. You guys are all sipping on it before I get in there. Any initial thoughts? It's definitely an orange juice looking type of beer. I definitely get a lot of citrus off the nose of it.
Yeah, it's definitely got a citrus punch to it. It's thick.
It's
Yeah.
thick.
I thought it was going to be something different. There's birch trees on the label.
That's
So
what I thought too. I
thought it was.
Maybe a stout or something with the birch trees, but it's definitely. I'm surprised it's a double. That it definitely improves it because it's a real good taste.
Yeah.
And then finding out it's a double and it tastes like this definitely bumps it up.
The mouthfeel, you can almost chew on that bad boy.
Yeah, it's smooth for a double IPA, for sure. It's smooth for a double. I like this beer.
Yeah.
What's happening to me?
I told you from the beginning it was going to happen. You looked at me like I was a weirdo because I was plugging the weirdo. It's going to happen.
So face to face, he was the one in the beginning that was like, crap
Yes.
beer.
Yeah,
Okay.
I call it weirdo beer because
Right.
there's so much to it, and certainly so much that I don't understand. And at first, I didn't understand why people liked it. I like it. It's cool. Like when Levante was here and stuff, and just drinking like beers that are exclusive. And we've had some whales on this show, as you guys put it, as well. And that kind of thing is
He's
pretty
even
neat.
got the naming culture.
It's
He's
neat to
going
me,
for it.
man. It's neat. Like, we're drinking beers that some people will never drink. Or certainly like last week, we're drinking beers a week early that nobody's had yet. And that's pretty neat. So the taste and everything is really good, and I'm getting the hang of it, but the idea of it is something that I like a lot, and it's growing on me by the day, basically.
Well, let's get into this one. What we got to give our ratings here. What are we giving the Clement from La Cabra here?
It was a strong 4.5 for me.
Ooh, 4.5.
I was
Yeah.
going to say 4.25.
I was going to agree with you. I'm going 4.25 on that one. Dave's making faces.
I am. I really like it. I'm one of the weirdos that I don't rate on Untapped. I check it in. I put tasting notes if I feel the need, but I think there's too much weight on these things. I think everybody it's too much of a Yelp aspect sometimes. And I'm kind of on the other side of the tracks on this, so I'm not immune to it, but I get it. If I were to rate this, I would say a solid 4+, because that's like I could drink this, no doubt, again and again. That's yummy.
So now, since you've moved back up here from the Carolinas, you're up in Emmaus.
Hinterlands.
So the Lehigh Valley beer scene is kind of growing on us a little bit. Who are some of your favorites up there right now?
Oh man, well, being part of the Lehigh Valley Brewers Guild, it would be hard to. It would be difficult and rude to just name off like one or two that would be our favorites. I mean, you've got the OG Weyerbacher, who Matty Snyder, the brewer up there, is putting out some killer stuff.
Their barrel stuff to me has always just been really, really good.
There's very few beers of theirs that they've put out that I would not drink again. You got Two Rivers, Cleaning Up Metals from GABF, Bond Place in Bethlehem. Their Mooey, it's like I'm probably gonna say it wrong. I think it's a bitter. It's just like easy. It's their house beer. Stupid awesome. Just
I've never
easy
heard
drinking.
of them. I gotta
Yeah.
check them out.
They don't distribute for nothing.
Yeah.
Like Sam is. This is my castle. This is where we make beer, and this is where
we
people will
drink
come
beer.
to get the beer. Yeah, he's awesome. He's a mad scientist. Look his stuff up on the Facebook. He puts out a new video like every other day. They're great. He has 14 different characters.
Did they do
who else?
cans?
They did one. Yeah, they did a canning run with Mooey. They did a collab with Tired Hands, and then they just did a collab with somebody in Iceland.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. Who else?
I like, probably the one that's closest to your house is Funk. That I always love going to Funk.
Yeah,
and
2
stopping
blocks
by
from
there.
Funk, and they just did their 5-year anniversary, and they kicked out some jams up there. They're selling socks. It was great. They always have good stuff. I mean, everything from the double disco to, yeah. I mean, if you like IPAs and you're not waiting on Funk, then something's wrong. A little one 3 blocks down from that is Yergis. They're a little nano brewery. They're awesome. Lost Tavern, Hop Hill, Hijinks. I'm gonna forget some Sage Alley. So it's incredible. You could do a weekend and still not hit all of them.
So I see, and I've just really in the past 2 days started seeing Lehigh Valley Craft Beer Week coming up. Looks like they got a lot of really cool events starting this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. What are some of the 1 or 2 highlights that you'll be looking forward to on that?
The Trapdoor is doing hot dogs with Funk. Consider myself a hot dog connoisseur. And they're doing the HAUTE dogs.
But yet you disrespect Yakos.
Look, this is a beer podcast.
Okay.
If there's
I won't start.
If there's a Might Be Hot
won't
Dogs
start
podcast,
hot
we can
dog
get
beef.
into it. Well, I'll say it quickly. I was not raised in Lehigh Valley, and I know you weren't either, but you worked up there at an impressionable age. So, and as Marlia keeps telling me, well, it's there, and sometimes you just want that hot dog, and that's fine. But I do not like it. I don't drink chocolate milk, and I think Potts is better, and I think there's like 14 other little hot dog shops that just make a better product.
All right. We'll agree to disagree.
Sorry. With that, and then, Tuesday, Hophead, something at Strange Brew Tavern on Emmaus Avenue, and then Stouter Day, next Saturday at Strange Brew. Hijinks is doing a stupid amount of events. Funk is doing like 13 different events. There's the the crafts and bites at the Hotel Bethlehem. We're doing a tasting at Domachi. Lehigh Valley Beer Week Facebook page. Come on up and see us. There's something for everybody up there.
Cool. Have all the listeners hopefully go check it out. So we're going to take a quick little break, take a little time out. After the break, we're going to get into CJ just for a little bit, see his craft beer beginnings, ends, see where he's going. And then we're going to get into this mead and figure out what this whole mead thing is all about. So stay tuned.
Everybody, make sure you check out an all-new, fully loaded week of Might Be News Network next week. We got an all-new Novak and Franz. We got an all-new Might Be Tunes. I'm not even going to announce the name of the band because, quite frankly, I don't know it off the top of my head. Then we also got a whole shit ton of the rest of the shows. Your normal lineup. It's 5 days next week. mbnnetwork.com. It's never been easier to find your new favorite podcast. Click the links, click the names at the top. You'll be automatically taken to the latest episode on whatever streaming platform you want. mbnnetwork.com.
All right. Welcome back to Might Be Brews. Make sure you check out the new website. CJ with the hookup on the new website, mbnnetwork.com. Little menu up at the top left. Click on that. Find your new favorite podcast. Listen to old episodes, fresh episodes. Check out Might Be Brews on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We'd love to hear from you guys. We heard some response from the Levante episode. Thank you guys for that. Get back to us. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what you want to hear from us. We love hearing from you. And speaking of CJ's new to the podcast to Might Be Brews. He's on the Might Be Sports. So you can check him out, hitting them up with the TMZ style sports news at the end.
He's on the rapid fire. And he's on
I feel
Novak
like
and
at this point, I just sleep on Taylor's couch and someone doesn't show up for a podcast.
Pretty much.
In.
Yeah.
Where's Bryce Harper?
So CJ, I've met you a little while ago at some of the Frank's bottle shares that we did with John. How did you come into the craft beer game? I'm always curious to see how not many people started drinking double IPAs. What was your gateway into the craft beer scene?
So I have this buddy Randy who has a top 10 list from wherever he can find them and has to cross every beer that's on the list off as trying it. So early 20s, I'm hanging out with him, started drinking at Victory when it was the old Victory when you could smoke in, it was dark.
Yeah. The pool tables in the back.
Yeah, that's the little seating area. You could see the tanks behind the bar. And then from there, it just kind of, he would find events and be like, I have no one to go with because no one was really into craft beer at the time. So he goes, you want to go? I was like, I'll go drink booze.
Yeah, fuck it.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah, so we've done stuff like we've done day trips. Like we'll go to a city and he'll find all these breweries. So we'll do we'll do themes or like the worst theme we ever came up with. We did chain restaurants the one day. Worst thing you could ever do.
Got to hit up the Applebee's.
Oh yeah, that's what we do all day. Just day drinking at chain bars. But we've done Philly. We did 4 cities in 5 days. We did Chicago for 2 days. We did Grand Rapids. We did Indianapolis and Cincinnati. And he had a whole list of all these breweries we had to go to, which Chicago, those people that drink in Chicago with their beer laws and liquor laws, I give them credit. We stopped at a couple places that had extended liquor licenses, so they are open 23 hours a day. They get to pick the hour they're closed.
Oh, how convenient.
Yeah, so I mean, if I was running them, I would close at 3 a.m. when the normal bars close, so you don't get all those drunks.
But then just crank it back up.
Crank it back at 4 a.m.
Wow.
So of your different breweries that you've experienced, do any stick out?
Three Floyds is probably
The metal.
well. Yeah, I know. So they pretty much read you the riot act before you go in there.
Yeah.
And then you go in there. It's 60s TV shows on all the TVs, and it's heavy metal music blaring.
It was Finding Nemo was on the TVs when I was there.
It was Batman when I was there, the old Adam West Batman.
How?
But then the door in between the bar, and they make you go to this different area for takeout. So there's this giant open doorway with no door. And so everyone I'm with goes, all right, we're going to go get takeout. I was like, all right, I'm going to go piss and then I'll meet you over there. So I'm following this guy. He goes through the doorway. The guy working the takeout counter goes, no, what the fuck makes you think you can come through that door? I'm like, this guy's getting yelled at. I just turn right around, go out the front door and go through the outside door. But it's like you have a double sized door with no doorway that goes right to the takeout area. Why wouldn't you think you could use it?
Got to block all those people from buying up all the zombie dust.
And then the whole reason we did the trip is one of the guys we went with won a Lagunitas exclusive tour, which after it, I could not drink Lagunitas for like 6 months because they just totally just kept shoving beer down our throat.
Oh, you poor thing.
So we got there 9 a.m. We drove all night. We got there 10 a.m. We get to Lagunitas, and they go, "All right, you're VIP. Just come in." So they have, the area before the tour starts, and they go, "Here's a cup. Get whatever you want." So we just start going to town. This is 10 a.m.
That's a bad idea, jeans, dude.
I know. And then noon. That's when the tour starts. And then everyone that's on the tour is getting like little, sample glasses they can try. So I'm there with my big glass, with my sample glass. And then they go, all right, there's enough people. We're doing 2 tours. You guys wait to the second tour. So they fill up our cups for the second tour to start. And then they send some poor intern that has to grab us a beer every time it's getting low on the tour, but no one else can drink on the tour.
That's the
Wow.
VIP
Wow.
treatment.
Oh, I was bombed after.
That sounds like a fun trip. All right. Well, let's get into our mead portion of the evening. So why don't we start? I know whatever zero baseline is, the next notch above me, that is my mead knowledge. So why don't we even back my mead knowledge back and just start with what is mead?
All right, great question. So, excuse me. Mead is alcohol made from fermented honey, period. That is what it is. Anything else is it can be the liquid is most of the time water, as all these are. If you were to use juice, apple juice, then it would be called a sizer. If you were to use grape juice, then it would be called a piment. But it's still mead. And then the ones we have here today, which pick which ones you want to try. We have a traditional. Any meads that are done with fruit is called a melomel. Any meads that are done with spices and herbs, it's called a mythoglin. And there's a million others. And then you can get real inside baseball with other terms and whatnot. But the biggest thing you want to remember is just it's made from honey. It doesn't have to be sweet. There's always going to be a good honey backbone, but it doesn't have to be sweet. We don't believe mead has to be thick, cloying, and overly sweet and shades of jet fuel. I brought a number of different ones today. Everything from our traditional, which is at 13%, we call semi-sweet, 9.5% dry hopped, to the 5.5% session meads that we have waiting in the fridge.
Cool. Well, why don't we start with the traditional? I
work.
think that's probably a good spot to start. Yeah. So if I'm understanding the connection between mead and the beer world, because you'll hear a lot of mead talk in some of the beer forums and that kind of thing, some meads being served at different breweries. What is the connection between mead and beer? And in my mind, basically the honey is replacing kind of the barley in the brewing process.
Pretty much right. Yeah. It's alcohol made from honey. So beer is made from grain, wine is made from grapes, sake is made from rice, boilo, we're not sure, and mead is made from honey.
So basically,
Cider made from juice.
in the brewing process, there's still yeast in it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't get alcohol without yeast.
So
Yeah.
the yeast in beer, when they're brewing beer, the yeast is eating the sugars from the grains.
Yeah,
The
ain't no
output of that is CO2 and alcohol.
Mhm.
So basically, the honey is replacing the barley in the brewing process.
Yeah, so super fast mead 101. You take the mead, you blend it with a liquid, most of the time water. Wait till it gets to a certain state of fluidity. That's when you put in the yeast. We do a cold fermentation, so there's no boiling. Once it gets to where we want it to be, ABV wise and consistency, if it's a traditional, then it stops. Shock it, drop it, and bottle it. And if it's not, if it's one of the other ones like here, then we move it over to a secondary tank, and that's when we add the flavorings, whether it be fruit juices, herbs, spices, different things like that.
So what kind of tasting notes would I look for in a mead?
We go, wow, great question. We go for is clean, bold, and balanced. A lot that you're looking for in a beer or in a glass of wine or even, a mixed drink done well, to a further extent. But, you don't want anything to be out of place. When you drink a beer and you know when a flavor's out of place, even you call them weirdo beers.
Right.
So when you're looking for that, it's like, oh, this is kind of hop overpowered. Oh, this is really malty. I smell something that I shouldn't. With mead, we don't want it to be overly sweet. There are meaderies that their strength is making these fruit bombs. You got the original gangster up in Michigan, and that's what they make, and that's what they are damn good at. We just don't make that style. We want to go for a more modern take, a little more approachable, a little more for the masses.
So to me, the flavors are a little bit more wine-like than beer-like. Is that a fair comparison?
That's not unfair. We feel that mead has a little bit of a fuller mouthfeel on it. Throw in a dilly when you want. But it's a little bigger mouthfeel. With the straight no chaser, we go for light, bright, citrusy, with a nice clean finish.
Bright is a good word. Bright is, and it's one of those things I can't, like when we were talking with Kevin Reevy, I couldn't explain to him the difference between tart and bitter.
Yeah, right.
It's a tough thing to put into words, but hearing the word bright, that makes a lot of sense to me. And I definitely get, and in most of them that I've tried, and I've tried a few of them, I get a little bit of that honey right at the end as it's kind of fading away off the back of the palate. I taste that honey sweetness too.
Yeah, with the straight no chaser, which is the one we just had, it's a traditional 13%, and that's our flagship. Note to self: not named after the a cappella group, named after the Thelonious Monk song.
Did they name their group after?
They did. I like to remind people when they're like, "Oh yeah, the a cappella group," which they are great. They are awesome. Two of them are from Lehigh Valley, and they are a lot more famous than a lot of people would like to think. They sell out Madison Square and Radio City and all that. And every time they come to Bethlehem, it's sold out 7 months ahead of time. I believe the Christmas show went on sale last week and it's already sold out. But as I like to remind people and say, yes, we got the name from the same place they did. And they go, huh? And they say, okay, this is called jazz. And,
It's really good. I like it. I agree very much about the wine aspect of it. Felt like I was drinking, like a nice white wine. It's really good. It's really good.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's definitely like a sweet wine taste to it.
Yeah, that's and that's a big one. Straight no chasers, 13% traditional. It's straight down the middle. We call it semi-sweet. We're not going to get too into the sweet, but Technical difficulties. 2 into the sweet. Where the other ones we're going to go a little bit drier on these, and we'll explore a little bit of that. But sweetness is definitely there. It's not. I mean, we can't hide from that. It's not something we're trying to avoid, but we just don't want them to be overly sweet and just to be something we're not.
Cool. So for those of us that are, those are the listeners, I should say, that are listening to our program that might not listen to the other programs, Taylor is a pretty big, I'll understate it, Wu-Tang Clan fan.
I'm probably among the biggest Wu-Tang Clan fans that you'll ever meet in your entire life.
I can't believe I'm just hearing about this now.
Did you go to the show? What was that, a month and a half ago?
No, I didn't. It was sold out before I could get in there.
That was a pricey ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen him 3 times. I've seen different members of the group in at different shows, and even back in the day, CJ, you might remember this. We opened up for Method Man and Redman, Organic Theory, the rap group I was in. I was just telling this story the other day. I was so scared during that show that you would have thought that like my feet were glued to the ground. Like the rest of my body moved, but my feet stayed in the same spot the entire 15, 20 minutes we were up there.
I've still never heard any Organic Theory, and I gotta have the discography. I gotta get into some of this. So the reason we're talking about the Wu-Tang Clan is the next mead that we are trying is called Wu-Tang Cran.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about it?
The Wu-Tang Cran started off as a Thanksgiving one-off about 3 years ago, and y'all just kept buying it. This is cranberry and orange peel. So you're going to start, you get the nice cranberry nose, cranberry up front, honey in the middle, orange and honey up front, a little honey in the middle, and then a nice cranberry smack on the finish. Yeah, we as you can see, the last one and this one, both musical names, and we lean toward that. We lean toward hip-hop names and oddball alternative 90s groups and other weird jokes that, we try not to outthink ourselves, because if you have to explain the joke, then you missed it. But
right.
Yeah, it's bad. But yeah, Wu-Tang Clan is awesome. We love it. It's definitely one of our most popular brands. And have not heard anything from said performers. So
wow.
we're which seeing how many other poorly done products grab their name.
There's a lot of Wu-Tang type names out there.
Yeah.
They don't, I mean, I don't want to jinx it. They don't seem to really care.
No.
So,
As
thanks
some
to
other
them
people
and,
might care.
Yeah. Well,
That you might have heard from.
Yeah. Do you want me to tell that?
You can tell. I didn't want to get into it. I wasn't sure if we were legally allowed to talk about it.
No, we don't sell it anymore. So so by law we're okay. So a while back, a little less than a year ago, texting with Steve about this and that, and he texts me and he's like, "How is Joel and Mead not a thing?" And I was like, "Wait, the what?" And so we talked a little bit, and it was like, Shirley Temple, oh my God, cool. So I went back to Greg and Mike, the owners, and was like, "Yo, I think we should do this thing." And we kind of looked around for ingredients and products and called our designer, and boom, we put it together in like 2 months. It was
way
fast.
Quicker than I thought it was going to happen.
It was silly fast. And so we released it on a Friday. Came out, sold a bunch, basically sold out of it on Saturday. Sunday, a couple cans went out, finished off the kegs in the tasting room, and Monday morning got a C&D.
Wow.
Because that's what happens when you're the
cease and desist for those of us not in the not in the biz.
When you're the second most click through topic on NBC Philly, it's going to turn some heads.
Wow.
So that was fun. We were like, and Joel's people, very nice people, and they were like, "What dis?" We were like, "No more what dis." They're like, "No more what dis? No more what dis, sir." Okay.
And the I'll show you a picture of the can a little bit. I think the can is what got you in more trouble than the name.
I mean, there are similarities between the
Likeness.
the likeness and what we the athlete we may have been referring to. Yeah, mask and all.
But basically, if you remember the stories when he first came into the league before he was 21, he would go to the clubs and drink Shirley Temples. So the mead itself, the flavors were Shirley Temple inspired, ginger, cherry.
Wow.
And the can is him about to shoot a free throw. And he's got the mask on from when he had the mask.
Yeah.
And he's holding a big cherry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were.
The artwork was really well done.
It was
super well done.
Really well done. It was a little lightning in a bottle. We're happy to be a part of it, or to be able to give that to the ether, and it was a good ride. It was a good ride. And now, no, we don't sell that anymore. We don't make that anymore. It's there's posters on the wall, and that is where flowers on the wall, posters on the wall.
Yeah,
that's where that's at.
Well, dude, I would drink this Wu-Tang Cran like every day. There's reasons, multiple reasons. One, it tastes really good. Two, obviously the name, but it's really good. Still very like wine like, but I like wine. I'm a wine, not drinker all the time, but I don't mind it.
Well, I want to push the envelope here, but you guys rate these every time you drink them, don't you?
We do. Yeah. We do. We are also very famous for not rating stuff in time.
Okay.
That's also true. That's also true. Yeah, John's really bad at that. We'll just like go through and we'll have the beer, and then like I write down on the paper. I'm like rate.
Yeah,
rate. We're 20 minutes away from not being able to rate this.
So if I were to start with the first one we had, that mead is kind of right in the middle for me. I give that like a 4, but then the Wu-Tang Cran I like a little bit better. I go that probably about a 4.25 for my palate. I don't get as much honey out of the Wu-Tang Cran. I wonder if the cranberries, I don't want to say covering it up, or maybe it's just working in conjunction with it that I don't taste the honey as much. But I don't think you necessarily have to taste the honey in everyone. That's not something you're specifically going for, right? I don't want to taste like I'm, licking a honey stick.
Right. We're not going for, Winnie the Pooh's, best dream ever here. We like to use, fruits and herbs that complement each other well. Much like a lot of the hops do, and like in the Clement there. I mean, we can tell it had 3-4 different types of hops,
but you can't pick one.
Because the sum of the parts is greater than the whole. We are stronger together. E pluribus unum. Da da da. But with that, we can kind of change gears for a minute, and I want to try you this one. This is called T-Tax. This is a Arnold Palmer mead. Now this is a little bit different than what we were going for before. So this is a 5.5% session mead. So a lot lighter, comes in a can, it's carbonated. As these are for, the bottles are for sipping and sharing, the cans are for day drinking and tailgating.
There you go.
Okay.
So before we get too far away from it, give us our ratings on the first two we've had so far.
On the traditional, I would go, all right, so the difference between for me personally, the traditional and the Wu-Tang Cran, obviously, let's just cut the name out of it because that automatically adds at least a 0.25 for me.
At least 1.25.
At least. But the traditional, I got that honey taste. I liked it a lot. I'd probably give it a 3.75. The Wu-Tang Cran, I'm going at least 4.25. At least.
Excellent.
At least.
Yeah, I mean, and appreciate the honesty and knowing that you guys aren't, familiar with it as I am.
If I drank more of them, those scores would probably increase.
Well, yeah,
because I'm very new to the whole I'm new to the craft beer world, and I'm brand new to the mead world.
Oh, so am I.
Brand new.
20 minutes new.
What do you think, CJ? Have you enjoyed them?
I think the first one, 3.75, it's not necessarily it's good. I can appreciate it, but it's not my cup of tea.
Right.
Whereas the second one, I'd say 4 or 5 on that, just because I like the taste added to it, the cranberries.
Yeah.
I can taste some of the orange in it, and it's not as much of a dry taste as the first one.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Yeah.
He like won't look at me while he's talking about it.
The Wu-Tang
No.
Cran, I'll say it is what is advertised. It says, the orange and the cranberry, you get that for sure. Whereas like some stouts and things like that are just like, oh, chocolate. And I'm just like, I'm lost in that. Or like different herbs and things that are in IPAs and stuff like that. I'm just like, I'm not picking that up at all. This is exactly what it says it is, and it's very good.
Well, thanks, and that's what we go for. I mean, we go for, again, as advertised, clean, bold, balance. We want you to.
What is this one?
This
I
is,
really like this one.
This is called Tea Tax. This is honey, water, lemon zest, lemon juice, and black tea. This is our take on an Arnold Palmer, or as we would say down here, a Turkey Hill half and half.
I'm saying 475.
Dude, I would drink this.
you guys
I would
are
drink
all
this
about
all
this
the
one.
time. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
475. I'm with CJ.
Yeah, this is good.
This is near perfect.
I have to, and we can talk about this if you want to get into it, but we've talked about this before. Rating things that aren't your cup of tea. And I use that phrase literally because I don't like tea.
Yeah, so you're not
I
gonna like
don't
this.
drink iced tea. I don't drink hot tea. I don't drink any tea.
Neither do I.
The worst tea I've ever had is that hop tea that
Oh,
John
God.
made us drink.
That was hilarious.
That was really gross.
It hurt listening to you guys drink that.
And I'm not sure what I did wrong to John that he made me drink that.
Dude, he was trying to
Oh,
like,
you know.
no, well, this one is really good. I was like, oh man,
like,
put the shovel down.
And he's like, this is the best one. I was like, what do the other ones taste like? The other ones have to be just horrific. But I'm not a tea fan, so I get too much tea from this one
Fair enough.
for my sake.
Yeah, I mean, and kind of touched on that earlier with the Untapped, and it's like people. I've seen so many check-ins where a guy drinks a Kolsch, checks it in. 1. I hate Kolsch. Well, then why did you take the time to rate it? Because it's not true to what you're trying to accomplish. It's like, for one of my favorite things, it's like calling professional wrestling fake. If you call it fake, then you're asking it to be something it's not. It's not a competitive sport. It's entertainment. If you rate a Kolsch, a beer, any beer, a 1, you're like, I don't like that style. I hate it. Well, duh, you're going to give it a 1. And I
Right.
think that's unfair to first of all, to the brewer. And second of all, to the rest of the people that see these ratings. And unfortunately, we got, again, the Yelp syndrome where people look like, oh, I got to look up this beer. Oh, it's only got a 3.5. I'm not going to get it.
Do you ever do that?
No.
I never do that.
No. But you hear like the whispers, like the rumblings of the lemmings. And, I mean, look, we're just a couple guys sitting around. There's plenty of other people that think just like us, or at least they think they do. And, I'm, neither above you or below you. It's just, I just don't want to take so many other people's word. It's like going to a movie like, oh man, I heard that movie sucked. Well, did it have the actor in it that I like? Does it have a plot line that I like?
Right.
Well, I'm still going to go see it.
See, there's plenty of people that are probably just like that, where they're just like, oh, it's only got a couple stars. I'm not going to do it.
Right.
But like me, I would typically dig into that and read the reviews, at least the top few of them, to see if like, all right, well, I can tell just by the way that this guy's talking that I don't agree with him at all. Or just at least trust myself to make my own judgment.
Right.
But as far as this one goes, the one we're drinking now, back to that tea hop or hop tea or whatever the hell that shit was called. It was gross. This has what I was asking for in that, which is more sweetness.
Mhm.
Remember, I was like, if they had a sweet tea version of this, I might fuck with it. This is that because it has that lemonade vibe to it. It's got that mixture into it that gives it that little extra pop. I'm not a fan of the nose necessarily because that's very tea-ish.
Mhm.
But the whole vibe of the taste is magnificent. Shit is banging.
I can see Reeve drinking these while he's playing golf.
Absolutely,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, it's Arnold Palmer.
It's an Arnold Palmer.
But
Yeah.
I had to say, when I was listening to that cast when I was driving to Lancaster on Sunday for the Chikara event, and I was like, well, I'm bringing T-Tax. Like right away, I'm like trying to piece together what I'm going to bring the whole time, and they went on that tirade.
I wish John was here to have some of this because he would probably. I wonder if he would like it.
Well, he better like it because it's obviously better than the hop tea.
I'll take that as a compliment. I'll leave him one.
So, what is your exact role with the Colony Meadery? Are you sales rep? What is your role up there?
We wear many hats. To go down the line, I mean, Greg and Mike are the owners. Greg's more the CEO, 5-year long distance, and Mike is the brewer. Jen's the assistant brewer. I'm the sales manager, regional manager, Swiss Army knife. We're trying to, as we keep growing and learning more and more things about how to do things correctly and most proficiently. Our roles are changing a little bit. I started out as the tasting room manager at the bookstore when we first started that Moravian bookstore. Rest in peace. And then I had a day off, and then Leah was working, so I was like, well, I guess I'll go try to sell things. So it's much more of a sales manager role where it's a little more defining, being out and about and going into, finding the good accounts, out in the wild. And so it's doing a lot of tastings with bars and restaurants and grocery stores and state stores and just doing every damn thing I can to get our name out there because, I believe in the product. And I've sold a lot of things, particular family buffet restaurants that I worked for a long time that I never really particularly believed in, but what pays the bills? But this is an easy product to believe in because it's just so damn good. And we are riding the wave of what craft beer has provided, but then in a whole nother way as well. So sell things, tell more people about it, and keep selling things and festival captain as well.
There you go. Well, I don't want to get too personal here, but I've obviously known Dave for a long time. I'll say this. He's had a lot of different jobs. I mean, a lot.
Not as many as Rookie.
Probably not, but he's still had a lot. And I'm glad you found something that you're obviously passionate about. Yeah. It's a lot easier to get up and go to work in the morning when you find something that you're passionate about. And I thank you for bringing all this mead for us to try and explore. And I hope all the people get out there and try and explore some different stuff.
Yeah. I would have never drank mead unless you brought it here to me. And now I probably would. If I was out, I mean, that's my next question. I know we're running out of time here.
Are we?
We are.
Well, you're
Sadly,
the person in charge of the time.
How mad would John be if we just did an hour and a half? Just no problem at all.
He's probably listening right now with a stopwatch.
It's like, dude, there's 3 minutes over. Come on. I give John such a hard time because he just wants to podcast the whole all night. He would go all night.
I'm down.
I'm down.
24-hour takeover.
Sadly, this is one of the shows that we record literally the night before I release it. So there's a little bit of work that I have to do after everybody leaves. But anyway.
Tell you where to get it around here?
What's that? Yeah, Mead.
Yeah. So
where would I find it?
Where would you find it? So being where we are in Chester County right now.
Your mead specifically.
My mead specifically. Our mead specifically, excuse me. In Chester County, for those of us that are in this greater area, the Bottle Room in Downingtown is like number one spot. Those guys are great. Carrie and Katie run a great store. They've got at least 6-7 different flavors there.
Okay. Is Wu-Tang Cran one of them?
Wu-Tang Cran. They do have a couple bottles of that. They did that they used that for a dinner and did a sorbet with it.
That's a good idea.
Phenomenal. Yeah, chefs love this stuff. If it was up to the chefs, we'd be in every damn restaurant on the block. Good for restaurants, they're not. Wegmans, all the Wegmans.
Okay.
We've got Wu-Tang Straight and another one called Momito, which is a mint and lime.
Oh.
All of those are available in every Wegmans on this side of the state. Exton Beverage. It's coming soon to Suburban Brewing Company and a whole bunch of other breweries in the area. And you can always order us online, colonymeadery.com, and we'll bring it right to your house. We don't have a cool name like Mercury or Hermes or anything, but our friends at UPS will bring it to you. Colonymeadery.com. That's the biggest ones around here. You said Exton Beverage, the Bottle Room, and Wegmans.
So if you're on the cusp of being into craft brews or just in the mood for a different kind of beverage, you should definitely check this kind of stuff out. I'm thoroughly impressed with it. Like I said, it is as advertised. Even that the Arnie Palmy, it is exactly what it says it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying?
And come see us too. We're up in Allentown.
Okay.
About an hour. I mean, as where we sit, straight up 100. Allentown, 905 Harrison Street. We got a brewery next door, Hijinks. We got a distillery next door, County Seat, and then 14 other breweries and 4 distilleries in the Lehigh Valley, and just a bunch of cool bars and restaurants. Come stay at the Hotel Bethlehem for a night, and a couple other places, and just come on up and explore with us.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming out. I got one quick thing to hit before we get out of here. I wanted to do a little This Week in History.
Oh.
So in
is this
1792, the U.S. Post Office was created.
Oh, my.
In 1965, Canada's maple leaf flag was raised for the first time. 1954, Matt Groening was born, the creator of The Simpsons.
Is this in response to Kev doing victory as his point?
If people are going to do beer news on their shows, I might have to do a little week in history on ours.
News is firing shots at everybody.
Putting co-host Kev on notice.
1945, U.S. Marines stormed the shore at Iwo Jima.
Wow. See, he missed that completely. Completely. We were on the same show. I mean, he did the Canada thing. I think all the rest of that is news to me. Kev,
there you
step
go.
your fucking game up. Step your fucking game up.
CJ, thanks for coming out, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see you as always. Taylor?
CJ, technical director, spiritual guru, and birthday boy this week.
Oh,
Happy birthday, CJ.
Happy birthday.
Hey.
Thank you.
And John, we'll see you next week or next time. I love you. You're my brother, and I appreciate you very, very much.
Taylor, good job tonight, buddy.
Thank you, Steve. You too.
Don't forget to check us out on all the social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, where it might be brews, and check out the website, mbnnetwork.com. Check out the menu, find all your favorite shows. Thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next time.